Hi everybody. Hey, today I want to talk about achieving financial freedom. When you think about financial freedom, I think that's different than becoming rich or having the garage of your dreams with all the Lamborghinis and cars and such, because I don't think there's a correlation always, and I know you know this, that there's no correlation necessarily between amazing wealth and happiness. However, who among us hasn't wanted to achieve financial freedom? The freedom to live the lifestyle that you dream of and accomplish the objectives and goals that you have in your mind about how you want to live your life, and to make a better life in terms of health and wealth and happiness and career success, etc. So no matter what that is, financial freedom certainly helps that. I went through a process in my life of wondering the same things about how could I ever become financially independent? How could that ever work for me? I grew up in a lower middle class family. My dad worked 2 jobs for either 6 or 7 days a week for the first 15 years of my life. So I was able to watch and see different families and people that had more more comfortable lifestyle than we had. And I was able to look and think, I think that's the life for me, right? And I had this dream of becoming really rich and really wealthy, and as a young person, I just wanted things to be better than they are now, or they were then. So what does that mean in terms of getting older? When I start looking around and saying, well, I want this to happen, it's like I thought, I know this can happen. In fact, when I was going to beginning to go to college, I started talking to people that had been very, very successful and started saying, how did you do it? What were the key factors of success that you did? What did you learn? And I got a lot of interesting advice. In fact, what happened was a lot of people would take their advice and boil it down to 1 or 2 things, and say it's all about this or it's all about that. And I got great advice all the way from, hey, work harder, not smarter, you need to do that, to on the other end of the scale, not so helpful, but Mike, it's just as easy to love a rich girl as a poor girl, which may be great advice. I'm not sure how to take them up on that though. But the idea is that you get all sorts of ideas and notions. And one of the things that I learned later was that there's really not one thing. In fact, there's a number of things you have to do. So whether you want a healthy lifestyle, a happy family, or financial independence, there's actually a lot of things you need to do. And don't like the phrase that says it's all about this one thing. It's really a system of things you need to do, and you need to understand what they are and do them well. So when I look at achieving financial success, financial freedom, one of the key things was when I spoke to people that had done it, I learned that it could be done. Now, that's a first stage in this whole process, is to say, you know what, I believe it can happen. I know it can happen because I saw people went from rags to riches, and I saw that they were very, very successful. So number one is that belief. I knew it could happen. Remember, we'll look for something if we know it's there. May not know how to find it or where it is, but you'll look longer and harder if you do know it's possible. Now, if you're one of the people that thinks, no, being financially successful is only for a select few, you have to be born into it, or you just have to be lucky, or something has to happen, it's just not for me, you're probably right. One of the things I love to say is, no matter what you think about yourself, or no matter what you think about the opportunities that the universe will put in your way, put in your path, then you're always right. If you don't think you're worthy, and if you don't think it's not for you, it won't be, and you'll see that it doesn't happen that way. On the other hand, the power of me seeing people that had succeeded, the power of that was that I could believe that this could really happen. Although I wasn't sure how it was going to happen, I really believed it was going to happen. Now, the next thing I had to do is think then about, once you get past that belief system, is say, okay, so how do I activate these beliefs? And I went through a process in my life where I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be discovered. People are going to walk in and see this great guy and say, Mike Amato, he's the guy for me, and I was going to become wealthy, sort of like winning the lottery. And first of all, I'm sure it wouldn't be any more happy or fulfilling than winning the lottery. I mean, look, 92% of people that win the lottery face bankruptcy and depression, and double the rate of addiction than people that don't win the lottery, because it's not very fulfilling. It's a life hack, if you will, and a lot of people miss the process and the fulfillment of achieving that wealth. So look, if you're a person that believes that you can be lucky and you can win the lottery, good luck to you. I'm telling you, it didn't work for me. So the key thing that I had to learn was, in manifesting my own personal wealth and my own personal success, the key word was not manifesting, where we spend a lot of time talking about how to manifest. The key word is me. In this context, it's you. You need to understand that you're the most important driver of your success, whether it's wealth and health and family and fulfillment. Look, it's you that matters. It's not just simply trying to manifest it. So number one, there's a belief. Number two, the knowledge that it's up to you to make it happen. I waited to be discovered, flipping hamburgers, saying that somebody's going to walk in and say, what a great guy this guy is. Doesn't really work that way. It sure didn't work that way for me. So what you need then is to understand, if I said that these are a bunch of interrelated actions, you'd almost call it a system. So we've described the first two elements of that system, but the third one is really interesting in terms of now I need to have a plan for making things happen. You need to have a framework for saying, now how do we do this? Where a lot of people spend their time is understanding that, yes, I believe it can happen. And secondly, that I am the driver of that, but how do I drive it? So, what I call is a personal success system. You need a framework for doing that. And number one, I'll tell you the 4 stages of it right now are, you must have a way to articulate your motivation. So what does it look like to you? What does the future look like to you? What will it feel like when you're there? And as you look in that future, and vision boards are a great way to do it, is to say, what do I want my life to be like? And it can begin to be material and shallow, but it can also have a lot more depth and meaning than I think a lot of people know. But your motivation is to have a life that looks and feels like this. And if you can take that and really feel it, move from an intangible idea to a tangible feeling, you've now done the most important job in terms of giving yourself, bringing a vision. And now you can start to bring that vision to life in the second step, which is actually then sort of creating what I think was an important fuel for me, was a sense of higher purpose. If you believe that you're doing something for a sense of higher purpose, then you're more likely to put a lot of effort and energy into it. And that higher purpose can be articulated however you want. It can be that you want to have the ability to take care of your family to a greater degree. It may mean you want to have the ability to have the health care that you want in your retirement years or later years. That higher purpose doesn't have to mean that you're just going to focus on benevolent causes. I think that's part of it, but it really should speak to what you stand for. And when you think about your higher purpose and what you stand for, that's got to be your motivation, okay? So as you think about that and you say, now what's my higher purpose? Then the third step is basically making a strategy for making it happen. This is where a lot of people don't spend a lot of time. They come up with ideas as maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that. But in reality, you need a strategy for making things happen. And the strategy is where you really plot out, what I think your strengths are. You need to take an inventory of your strengths. What do you have going for you? What are things that you could do a little bit better? What are the opportunities then that are open to you for when you look at your analysis of yourself or your resources, and how do you align them for success? That's a strategy. Final stage is sort of then the plan. Now let's bring it to life. Okay, so we know what we got a vision, a very strong vision in terms of what life could look like and what I'm trying to achieve. That's where I'm going. I know what life's like today, and I know that I stand for certain things. I want it to be within the parameters of my values and the way that I live my life and that motivation that drives me. So I got that. Now I got a strategy. So I know what I do really well, and trust me, you have the tools to do something better than anybody else in the world. You need to understand that, and you need to develop that in your strategy. The final stage is in the plan. What will you do, and when will you do it, and by when will you do it? How will you measure the results? And so that's a plan. So again, it's not magic to create financial freedom. It's actually following many steps along the way. And you know what? Even that still may not be enough. The final step in the framework for your personal success plan is that you need to have some intangibles. Do you know that the world is full of people that think about success? There's fewer people that actually plan for success and go through a process to make that happen. But I'll tell you what, the difference between those that really think about it and do those first things I just mentioned and then really make it work, have this intangible, and it could be called drive. It could be, again, I think of motivation. It could be energy towards this. The thing that causes you or allows you to put the 10,000 hours in to make you an expert at something, you need to have that intangible thing. In football, I call it grit. That's really important to add that intangible because it's the X factor in now bringing the whole framework that I've explained to you today to life. So as we get to know each other better, we can talk about each of these steps, talk about how to do it. But for now, I just want to say that I think that this can be a wonderful year for you. I know that you can achieve your financial freedom that you're looking for. But remember, it starts with you, and it starts with the belief that you can make it happen. And then finally, it starts with following steps in a process that's easy to follow, takes a little bit of time, but not much time. But there's a way to do it and make this all happen. So that's it for today. Thanks a lot. Hey, look up my website, watch my social media posts, and connect with me, please. I'd love to talk to you more. Thanks a lot.